All right, number 11, we want to use the sum and difference identity to find the exact value of this expression. So we are given cosine. So the sum and difference formula for cosine from your trig cheat sheet is cosine of alpha plus or minus beta. So you have two different angles. That equals cosine of alpha times cosine of beta. And then when you get here, the signs change. So if it was positive, over here it will be minus. And then if it was minus, it would be positive here. And then that will be sine of alpha times sine of beta. Alright, so we start with 11 pi over 12. Alright, so as you become more familiar with the unit circle, you will realize that this is not a value that is on the unit circle. Let me pull it up. So here's the unit circle. You have these radian measures right here, pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2, and it keeps going up and up and up all the way around. And 11 pi over 12 is not one. We have 11 pi over 6, but no 11 pi over 12. So we need to find a way to use these measurements by adding or subtracting them and get something that equals 11 pi over 12. Now, as you will notice, I'm sorry I clicked off too soon, all of the denominators, 6, 4, 3, and 2 are multiples of 12. So I can use a combination of a 2 and a 6 because 2 times 6 gives us 12, or I can use a combination of a 3 times 4, and 3 times 4 equals 12. And every one of them has a pi on the top, so you're going to start in that area. Alright, so 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 4. So I'll use these pairs in combination. How do you know which one to use? Well, look at your numerator. And this is what I've done previously to kind of help me get started. If this number is odd, then I want to use the pair that has the odd number. If this number is even, then I use the pair that has only even numbers. So right now, I'm going to use the 3 and the 4. Okay. Thing is, if I have to subtract, the order might have to be reversed. And again, we always have pi on the top. We always have pi on the top. So if you were to add these as they were, you would have to, 4 times 3 is 12, you would cross, that would be a 4, that would be a 3. So I'm just kind of doing a little mental math and trying to explain. You would have 4 pi, you would have 3 pi. 4 plus 3 is 7, which is odd, but it's not 11. So I need something different than just this. And just with trial and error, the more you do it, you'll get better. You're not always going to pick the right one and the right sign the first time, but as you do it more and more, you'll get better. So just doing this is not enough. So there are other values that have denominators of 3 and 4 from this unit circle. Like possibly we could use pi over 4 and then just change it to the 2 pi over 3. We could leave it as pi over 3 and then use the 3 pi over 4. We can do a number of things. We could use some of these values down here as well. 5 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, any one of those. But what I want to try is 2 pi over 3. Because looking at the 4 and the 3 giving us 7, I feel like this will give us a better shot. And again, I'm going to add these. Adding, it doesn't matter the order, but if you have to subtract, it could, be reversed. But you could see that pretty easy once you see the sign. All right, so we're going to try 2 pi over 3 and pi over 4. Get a common denominator by multiplying top and bottom by 4. So times 4 will give us 8 pi over 12. So this times 4 top and bottom, and times 3 to get 12. So that will give us 3 pi over 12. All right, so you can see 8 plus 3 pi will give you 11 pi over 12. So that means that this is what we need, these two terms, exactly from the unit circle. will give us this, and then we can apply this formula. Again, there's a lot of trial and error with this process. You're not always going to get the right ones the first time, but as you get more experienced with it, it'll become more clear. So since I had to add, I'm going to write it like this, but then when I do my formula, I have to make sure I subtract, okay, because the sign changes. So rewriting this now is cosine, and instead of me writing 11 pi over 12, I'm going to do 2 pi over 3 plus pi over 4. These are the two terms from the unit circle, and plugging them into the sum or difference formula, we would write cosine of 2 pi over 3 times cosine of pi over 4, and then the sign changes, minus sine of 2 pi over 3 times sine of pi over 4. And then we will look at the unit circle. Cosine gives us x values, sine gives us y values. Cosine of 2 pi over 3 is 1/2. So x value is 1/2. Cosine of pi over 4 is the square root of 2 over 2. And then minus sine of 2 pi over 3 is going to give us the square root of 3 over 2. And then sine of pi over 4 is the square root of 2 over 2. Alright, so if you're not familiar, where am I getting these numbers from? I'm going to show you right here. You use your unit circle. You're going to find these pairs. So 2 pi over 3 is this angle. The ordered pair, sorry, I made a mistake here. The cosine is negative 1/2, so I need to go back and change that sign. The y value is square root of 3 over 2. So that one's going to be okay. And then when you do pi over 4, you have square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2 for both the x and y value. All of these order pairs just repeat. Square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, square root of 1/2, and square root of 3 over 2. They flip-flop. And then they either become positive or negative, and they continue to flip-flop all the way around the circle. And the same with the pi over 4 radians. They're square root of 2 over 2 all the way around, changing from negative to positive, depending on the quadrant that they're in. Okay, so let me make this adjustment. This is a negative. Okay. Now from there, we're just going to multiply straight across. Give me a negative square root of 2. 2 times 2 gives me 4, minus, this will be square root of 6 over 4. Now you can do this because they're both in square roots. If they weren't, you couldn't multiply them together. And since they have the same denominator, we can write this as a negative square root of 2 minus square root of 6, all divided by 4. And that's cutting off. So that will be our final answer. So I'm going to do division bar, negative square root of 2, and then minus square root of 6 over 4.